We are so happy to welcome you to Dive In 2021. Dive In is a global movement in the insurance sector to support the development of inclusive workplace cultures. Its mission is to enable people to achieve their potential by raising awareness of the business case and promoting positive actions for diversity in all its firms. Since its birth in 2015, Dive In has grown exponentially, reaching global heights with events taking place across 32 countries worldwide, attracting more than 10,000 people. We are so pleased that for the second year in a row, Israel is part of this important global event where insurance industry people across the world are all talking about the same issue, diversity and inclusion. My name is Liri Halperin-Segal, and I'm the founder and CEO of Leo. Leo is an AI-powered sales scaling platform for digital transformation. We are the first ever personal AI sales assistant for insurance brokers and agents. With Dive In coming up, I've been thinking a lot lately about women and women's issues as they relate to the insurance industry. As a woman in a position of leadership in the insurance industry, I'm also the co-founder of the gender equality advocacy group P51 and the former UN speaker on the topic. It's one that is very important to me. In my own community, I see women that are CEOs and co-founders of insurtech startups. I'm so proud of our own success, and I believe we can be powerful role models for women just starting out in insurance. But I know that we are still not the norm, and I see that there is room for improvement at every level. This year's Dive In team is allyship, finding ways to support the industry diversity initiatives from within. I will be asking each of our panelists to share their ideas about how we as an industry can support women a little later in the conversation. But I thought I would kick us off today with my own 3 tips recommendations. So the first one is really signal the importance of gender diversity from the top. This does not necessarily have to mean moving women into all of your senior management positions. Men who lend their voice and their influence to gender diversity issues can also be powerful advocates. The key for leaders of any gender is to back up your words with actions. Number 2, recognize, promote, and reward leaders who sponsor and develop women. It's good to know that hiring and promoting women may actually increase your company's overall profitability. A Credit Suisse report revealed that companies where women made up at least 15% of senior managers had more than 50% higher profitability. Amazing. And the last thing is really foster an environment that welcomes diverse perspectives. Have workshops for your C-level executives and give them practical tools to promote and recruit women at your organization. Our panel today will lead you to reflect on how we can educate and empower each other to be allies and champions for all. Thank you. I'm proud to be joined today by 4 smart, dynamic women who have each overcome their own challenges to make important contribution to the insurance industry. In putting together this panel, one of the things we really wanted to demonstrate is the global nature of our industry and the impact women are making there. So we wanted to invite Susan because she's a great example of people working globally in the insurance community. Susan, thanks for joining us. Please introduce yourself.
Liri, good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here. I'm Susan Hatton, and I serve as Chief Marketing Officer for Holmes Murphy, which is one of the larger privately held insurance brokerage firms in the United States. And within that role, I also, over the last 2 years, have had the great opportunity to build one of our subsidiary brands along with our team Broker Tech Ventures, which is a company that Holmes Murphy co-founded and co-owns, and how I got to know Leary and a number of our friends internationally.
Thank you. Sari?
Hi, thanks for inviting me today. I'm a product manager at AIG in Life and Health Department. I also lead an occupational diversity group at AIG.
Perfect. Orna?
Hi, my name is Orna Carney. I'm the VP of Strategy, Innovation and Business Development here in AIG Israel. I've been with the company for 8 years already.
And Orit?
Hi everyone, I'm Orit Golbari. I'm a Chief Operation and Finance Officer at Leo. My background is finance and CPA, and I want to thank you all for joining us today and make this conference so great and important.
Thank you all. So let's start with some get to know you questions. What song best describes you? Susan, let's start with you.
Well, when I saw this question was going to be asked, I first thought about what are my favorites, and one of the songs that just is a constant reminder of not taking things too seriously and certainly enjoying what you're doing, and perhaps timely in just finding champions around us. The song Girls Just Want to Have Fun is something that, again, how can you be in a bad mood? And also just with the subject of Dive In, and I know we were talking about allies and champions, it's surrounding yourself with those that can lift you up and remind you to find joy in what you're doing.
I'm with you. Okay, so Orna?
Yeah, so when I saw that question, I thought to myself, maybe I'll ask people that know me what would be the best song to describe me. And it was very fast that I got the answer, I Believe I Can Fly. So I guess that will be the right song.
Yeah.
I think it might describe also Sari.
Yeah, okay, so Sari, what do you say?
I think too, what Orna said. I didn't prepare a song that matched to me. I need to think about that.
Take your time. Orit?
So for me, it's kind of corny, but Supergirl, because sometimes I think I need wings to be at the same time in a few places. I'm a mother to 3 boys, and with a job and everything. So this is the song that really, really gets me the power to be a Supergirl. And now it's not time to wait, and now it's not time to cry. It's time to fly.
So we all want to fly and want to have fun. So that's great.
Power.
So what was your first job, Orit?
So my background is finance, and I came from EY, and my first role was controller in Verifone, which is a global company. So I was reporting to EMEA controller. I was Israel controller, and I was reporting to EMEA controller, which was a woman, and she was reporting to the global CFO, which was also a woman. So I think, this was my first job, but I think it's really shaped the way I see women in business, women in finance industry.
Yeah, so it was a great head start. Maybe, Sari, do you want to answer that?
Yes, I was in claims. I handled claims and customer service.
Okay. Orna?
Actually, not many people know that, but I started in the insurance industry completely by accident. I started as secretary just for 3 months. And I ended 11 years after that, managed the health insurance in Migdal Insurance Company that used to be owned by Generali. So, you never know where you start, and then you can fly all over. And now I am with AIG, so yeah, so it's completely not planned career.
And a
Amazing.
superstar in the Israeli community of insurance. So, Susan, what was your first job?
Sure. So my first job was actually on the production line at an equipment manufacturing company that manufactured paving machinery for construction. So very different than what I am doing today, but my father had great aspirations. So I would learn what it meant to have a job that was perhaps not in the more professional setting, and learn what hard work was using your hands.
Yeah. How long did you did it?
Oh, it was two summers really in between collegiate years. So it was a company my father worked for, but it was a lesson well learned to be working in the heat and on the production line.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So the last question in the get to know you part is if you could choose one superpower, what would it be and why? So Orna.
I thought that you will start. You will start in this last question because we haven't heard about how you started, your career yet.
You are asking me, so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I was actually a reporter. I worked in the TV. One of the, it's like in Israel, it's like E-television. It's like the E channel. So I was interviewing all kind of celebrities here in Israel, and it was a great, job for I think a year. And that was the most yellow thing that I did in my career. And that's where I understood that I wanted to move to insurance. Yeah. So, okay. Your superpower, Orna.
Wow, that's hard,
You want to think about it?
Yeah.
Okay, Orit?
Yeah, so definitely with no thinking, the power to split each hour to two, because I don't think we have enough time during the day for all of our tasks. So definitely the power to split the hours.
Yeah, and I will take some of those. Susan?
Well, mine would be similar. I hadn't thought of splitting hours, but I was just thinking if I could have a superpower to only require 1 hour of sleep a night, then I definitely would be able to get a lot more done. So perhaps the same lines as Orit, but more hours in the day to get things done.
Yeah, and no kids during that hour.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Hi, I don't know if it's the right word, but maybe consistency, persistence, to focus on some things and not to jump from one thing to another in the job, at work, and in career, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think most of the people, and mostly men, I think, will want to have the superpower to concentrate, but do a few things at once. Okay, so please tell us your story and share some valuable lessons you have learned in your career. Maybe Susan, you can start here.
Sure. So I began my career in the advertising agency space, and I spent about 10 years leading business development for an advertising agency, a marketing communications firm, and started, very young at the bottom of the rung in terms of I was willing to and glad to do anything for our team, and learned a lot in that process. I learned not only what teamwork meant, but what it meant to really roll up your sleeves and learn about different industries, because we had clients not only all over the world, but we had clients in every industry. So I had the great opportunity of just becoming a voracious learner in that process. And then 7 years ago, I had the great opportunity of joining Holmes Murphy after getting to know Dan Keogh, Ellen Willitson, and our Holmes Murphy leadership team. And again, took a bit of a leap of faith because I came from outside of the insurance space. And I had the opportunity to learn a new vernacular. So I think that's something I've prescribed by, which is never underestimate the value of feeling uncomfortable to learn something new, because you're stretching yourself and you're allowing yourself to grow. And then also I've been the great beneficiary of having a myriad of mentors, women and men, young and more seasoned. But I certainly am now in the place where I want to be giving that back. So this topic is meaningful to me, and it's certainly benefited me throughout my career. So I'm glad to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, and thank you for that. So Orit?
As I've mentioned, I've started at EY, Ernst & Young, and then my first role was very fun, and I had a great role models of women leaders in the finance area. I think it was 15 years ago, so it wasn't so obvious to see this global company with all those leaders in the finance team that are women. So I think I was inspired. Then my next position was I was part of the Google Waze acquisition. And basically, when Google acquire a company, they are taking out the finance team and put in some outsource. So I was working in Waze and was the focal point that communicate between Google and the Israeli authorities with the Waze team. So it was very exciting. And I think it gave me a lot of inspiration to how I think all the technology and the innovation in Israel can be global and can impact a lot of people lives. And in my last position, I was CFO at DB Maestro that sells a solution to insurance companies and carriers. And just before one of our investors in Leo introduced me to Leo, I was like in a junction and went to meet a friend of my father that I wanted to take his advice regarding what will be the next step of my career. And he just offered me an amazing job in one of the insurance companies. And I said, why should I do that? I mean, I don't have the experience. I still need to learn. So he said to me, you know what, if you were a guy and I would offer you this job, then you had like 70% of your skills, you probably would say yes. But all the ladies, you need to have 99% of the skills and feel ready before you jump into the water. And I went from there and I took it with me. And by the end, I now at Leo, and I think I did the best job, and the best decision. Sorry, and also the best job. Definitely. But I took this sentence and I keep telling it to people, and I spread this rumor. I think the lesson there was that we shouldn't feel ready. We just need to jump into the water, and we can do that.
Yeah, it's a bit similar, your stories, Susan and Orit, jumping to the water, and now you're successful. So that's a great story. Orna?
Yeah, so I can just join, and not the same words, but almost, the same sounds of words. So I joined Migdal completely by accident.
So Migdal is an insurance company in Israel, one of the largest.
Yeah, Migdal is an insurance company in Israel, one of the largest, used to be owned by Generali. Now it's a local insurance company. And one of the things that I really like is to learn. And usually it's hard for me to say no. So whenever I can, see a new opportunity, I've got new idea, I'm trying to think how I can implement it, how I can, make it happen. And even here in AIG, I've got some, best mentors during my career. I learned a few lessons from them, and these days I am, I hope, I think I am a mentor in few programs, not only related to insurance, but we are always try to find the way to provide the opportunities that I got during my career to people in the company, to provide them a platforms that maybe Sari will tell a bit more about it later, to give them the opportunity to come up with their big ideas for new products, new way of doing things in order to improve our business results.
So Sari, can you please share with us your work in AIG in terms of diversity and inclusion?
Okay, AIG encourages to establish ERG groups for underrepresented employees, for minority groups. It's a ERG, it means Employee Resource Group. AIG sponsors our activities in order to create social support within the workplace and corporate culture where diversity and inclusion are promoted. Here in Israel, we have an ERG group called Women and Allies. This group is a home for every Orthodox woman, especially ultra-Orthodox women. That's the reason I didn't know how to answer to your question about the songs, because I'm an Orthodox and I don't know if my songs, you know them. So in this group, we meet once every 2 months. We enjoy meeting each other, as well as participating in meaningful activities like negotiation workshop. In this workshop, we learn how to promote effectiveness to work through the rules of negotiation. We had a lesson about communication style and the OD session and more. In this group, every woman feels she has a voice, she has a place in her own right to share similar challenges. I lead this group and I participated as an Orthodox woman too. And we get great feedbacks from the participants. And thank you, AIG.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Sounds like a great experience. Okay, next question. What is something specific that someone has done that made a real difference for your career? Who wants to take this one?
Oh, wait, it's you.
So I think I just used my my specific someone in the last question because I think it's really shaped my the way I look at things, to try not to wait, to not to I don't know, to feel ready just to jump into the water. But I think one of the things I say, because I participate in the She Economy, it's like conference in Israel for women in fintech and some others. And one of the things that I also told last year in the conference is that I think we should try and take, and it's kind of jump to some of the next questions, but I think we should find the time to do those kind of conferences and those mingling. And it used to be that I read a lot of research about men and how they close deals and how they close their next position in poker or some golf games, etc. So I think women should share this information with each other. They should have these conferences. They should have the meetings. Pre-corona, it was face-to-face, but also virtual if it's not possible. And this is the importance of the diving. This is why I didn't give up for this dive in Israel, because I think it's super important, although it's virtual, although we cannot meet face to face all the time, but do have this meeting and share information and increase the awareness and be like this ally, which is the topic of this year Dive In Festival.
So it actually brings us to the next question, and we are running out of time here. So what are two things we can do to educate and empower each other to be a champion for all? So Susan, do you want to say? Do you want to share?
Sure. So, what I would say first is actually even going back, Larry, to your previous question, which is one piece of feedback offered to me by one of my greatest mentors. And she's been a mentor of mine for nearly 20 years and now has become a great friend. But, she encouraged me to raise my hand when I was very young, starting my career. And she knew, even though I might not have dollars or the wealth to give back, she encouraged me to give back my time. And so I just think that's a sage piece of advice to offer to all women and really to young professionals all around. And then the other is, to lean in as much as we can, even if we are further in our careers, because I learn from those who are younger than us and even beginning. They, my goodness, they know much more about social media tools and social selling than I certainly do. And so I think it goes both ways. It's one, I think about how can I give back of my time, talent, and treasure. And then conversely, how can I surround myself with those who have a different vantage point than I do? It could be something like getting to know Leary, who has a different perspective working internationally, or those on this call that I would love to get to know, because again, it stretches your line of sight, makes you more cultured, and allows you to think with more of a lens of diversity.
Yeah, thank you for that. Those are great two tips. Orna?
What I wanted to say, and I keep saying it to my daughters actually, is just to say yes to every opportunity that they get. Do not be afraid to fail, or do not fear if it's not perfect, like Orit said, because that we want to be perfect. We want to make sure that we present the best results, and it's not always like that, and it's okay to fail. You learn from your mistake. One of the lessons that I learned, that it's okay to fail, but never repeat the same mistake twice. That's the tip. Just don't repeat it. One time it's okay, and learn. You never lose. You either learn or win, right?
Yeah. Okay, so quick question, quick answer. Best piece of advice you've ever been given? We said some. Do you have something else that you want to share?
I can say that, don't ever quit learning. I mean, when I just came to Leo, I learned a lot of new developing phrase. And, that I thought NLP is something that relates to my yoga or something, but I learned, it's a whole world. And now I'm participating in meetings and understand everything. And, I think it's kind of related to what Susan said, that if I don't know something, I don't afraid to ask. And, knowledge is power. So this is.
I agree. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, Orna.
No, just it goes exactly where I just want to say that listening. Sometimes even when we think that we know the answer, we should be listening to the other party, friend, mother, daughter, manager, employee, just listening.
Yeah. Sari, anything else you want to add?
For me, it's to take every opportunity that I meet. I can tell that at AIG we have once a year a hackathon that calls a big idea, led by Orna Carney, who's with us today. Every employee, doesn't matter which level in the company it comes from, can suggest an idea. And I'm really excited to say that I won the last.
Yeah, Sari won the last
My
competition.
idea was
Okay, yeah, there is a connectivity issue. Orna, do you want to?
Congratulations, Sari.
Oh, thank you.
I got it.
Sounds like you won in the last hackathon.
Yes, and it was a really simple idea, but has a great impact to reduce complaints and save operational expenses. And yes, for me, it's to take every opportunity I find and to challenge myself.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, last question. How will you become a better diversity and inclusion ally in 2021, 2022? Susan?
Sure. So at Holmes Murphy, we do have a DE&I subcommittee that is, we're a company in the United States, a little over 1,000 employees. And I would say out of our 1,000 employees, we have more than 100 who are a part of this DE&I subcommittee. So it's a really nice subset of our employees. And I certainly intend on focusing and leaning in more into that specific. I think it's more than an initiative, it's really an imperative, and being more than simply a voice here in our local headquarter location, but leaning in and understanding. So to Orna's point about listening, it's understanding what our other office geographies might be going through, because every geography is facing something different with regard to DE&I. Not every geography is the same, much like DE&I might be different in Israel than it is here in the heart of the Midwest in the United States. So it's really coming to that juncture of listening so that you can understand and seek to help find solutions and rise above what might have been barriers in previous times.
Wow, interesting. Okay, anyone else want to share? Orit?
I think we can promise ourselves to keep this traditional Dive in Israel conference each year. And we also recruit in Leo. There are open positions if you if you can send us talented people. And Liri and I are really try to keep this at least 50% women in the company. So there will be a diversity and inclusion. I mean, we will keep this and we'll have this part of our legacy, part of our belief in Leo.
Yeah, and I can add to it, is one of our biggest challenges is as a growing company, we should know that, and we should keep an eye on the culture. So right now we have it, but what will be next in our next stage as a company? And I think this is a lot of challenges that startups needs to deal with today. So to keep the diversity and inclusion culture as part of it, even if they are rapidly growing. And I can tell you that, for example, in the R&D space, it's hard. It's hard to find women developers. So we need to find more techniques in order to know who and where to look for those who can be a good fit of your startup or your company. Also in the R&D, which I think is one of the biggest challenges today. So Orna, you mentioned hackathons. I think this is also a great way to do that. And also the program with Sari. So, okay, Orna, do you want to?
No, I just think that, as Rita suggested, I think it can be a good idea, and we need to create more opportunities for networking, to help everyone to make their voice heard, and I think we can take it from there.
Perfect. Sari, do you want to add to that?
For me, it's to continue to promote my ERG group, Women in the Lives, and to find every new woman that want to participate in our group. And that's it.
Perfect. Okay, so I think we are done. We are running out of time. So thank you to our wonderful speakers for sharing your time and your experience with us today. And thank you also to all of the participants who join us and listen and learn. We encourage you to go to your organization, to start conversation, to ask questions, and think about how you can be an ally to all and an agent for change in our industry. So we hope to see you in person to continue the conversation at Dive In 2022. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Larry.